Welcome to Night Whisper. Night Whisper brings you the darkest tales from the shadows. Join our community. Subscribe, leave a like, and prepare yourself for stories that will haunt your dreams. I made a New Year's resolution to get healthy. The gym I joined has rules. I should have read more carefully. I should have never made that resolution. It was the first day of the year 2026, and I was standing in the bathroom mirror with a sort of hardwired honesty reserved for champagne-fueled, sleep-deprived mornings. A button on my shirt was turned up, exposing a paler ovals district, a district that had not set foot in a gym in quite some time. I looked bloated, bagged under my eyes. When had this happened? This decline from being a shape into this shape here? I prodded at my stomach. It wobbled. I turned away. This year will be different, I told my reflection. Famous last words. I had been making the same promise in January of every year for the past 5 years. I would join a gym. I would lose 20 pounds. I would get healthy. I would get my life together. By February, I always backed out. The treadmill collected dust. The protein shakes expired in the fridge. The fancy exercise clothing remained in the box, but not this year. This year, I was serious. I had to. My doctor had been clear at my last checkup. Blood pressure too high, cholesterol creeping up. I was 32 years old and already on the path to serious health problems. The next day, I drove past 3 different gyms on my way to work. The big chain places with floor-to-ceiling windows where you could see all the fit people running on treadmills. Beautiful people in designer workout gear. People who looked like they'd never struggled with their weight a day in their lives. They intimidated me. I wanted something smaller, something less crowded, somewhere I wouldn't feel like everyone was judging me. That's when I saw the sign. Vitality Fitness. New members welcome 24/7. Access. The building sat wedged between a laundromat that looked permanently closed and a pizza place with boarded-up windows, small storefront, tinted windows so dark you couldn't see inside. I almost drove past it. The neighborhood wasn't great, but something made me turn into the parking lot. Maybe it was the price advertised in smaller letters. $20 a month. That was nothing, less than my monthly coffee budget. The front door chimed when I walked in. The smell hit me first. Rubber and cleaning chemicals. That universal gym smell that brought back memories of high school PE class. But underneath it, something else. Something metallic, almost like copper or blood. I shook my head. Blood. Right, I was being ridiculous. Can I help you? The woman behind the desk looked about 60. Gray hair pulled back in a tight bun, not a strand out of place. She wore a polo shirt with the Vitality Fitness logo embroidered on the chest. A stylized figure running, or maybe fleeing. Her name tag said Margaret in neat letters. I'm interested in joining, I said. I saw the sign outside. Do you have any New Year's specials? Margaret smiled. Her teeth were very white, too white, like they'd been professionally bleached. Actually, we do have something special. Our nighttime membership. Nighttime membership? $20 a month, unlimited access. But there's a catch. She leaned forward, her smile widening. You can only come between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. I laughed. That's perfect. I work late anyway. I'm in tech. We keep weird hours. Wonderful. Margaret pulled out a folder from a drawer. I just need you to fill out some paperwork, standard liability forms. And there are some rules you'll need to agree to. Rules? Oh, nothing too complicated. Just some safety protocols to keep everyone comfortable. She slid a packet across the desk. The first few pages were standard gym liability forms. I skimmed through them, the usual not responsible for injury stuff. But the last page made me pause. Vitality Fitness, nighttime membership rules. 1. Always sign in and sign out at the front desk. No exceptions. 2. Use only the equipment on the main floor. The basement is off limits to all nighttime members. 3. If you see someone with a green wristband, do not speak to them. Do not approach them. Do not make eye contact. 4. Never exercise past 3:17 a.m. Stop immediately at 3:15 a.m. and leave the building. 5. If the mirrors fog up, leave the building at once. Do not wipe them. Do not look at them. 6. Do not open any locked doors. Do not attempt to access restricted areas. 7. Report any unusual smells to management immediately. Do not investigate their source. I stared at the list, read it twice. What's with all the rules? I asked. Margaret's smile didn't waver. Just some safety protocols. You know how it is. Legal requirements. Insurance companies are very particular these days. The green wristband thing is really weird. That's for our special training clients. They're very focused, extremely dedicated to their program. We ask regular members not to interrupt them. It's for your safety as much as theirs. My safety? They can be intense. Startling them mid-workout could lead to accidents. She pushed a pen across the desk. But don't worry, you'll rarely see them. They keep to themselves. It sounded strange. But $20 a month? I paid more than that for streaming services I never watched. And the rules, while odd, didn't seem dangerous. Don't bother the serious gym people. Don't go in the basement. Leave by 3:15. Easy enough. Sure, I said. I'll take it. I signed everything. Initialed each page. Margaret handed me a key card on a lanyard and a bright blue wristband. Welcome to Vitality Fitness, she said. Her smile was warm, genuine, or at least it looked that way. We're open all night. The door locks behind you automatically, so make sure you have your key card. See you soon. I thanked her, started to leave, paused at the door. One more thing, I said. Why 3:17 specifically? That's such a random time. Margaret's smile faltered for just a second. Oh, that's when we do deep cleaning on the equipment. Can't have members using machines while they're being serviced. That made sense, sort of. I started going that same week. The first night, I arrived at 10:30. The parking lot was empty except for an old Honda Civic with a dented bumper and a rusted pickup truck that looked like it hadn't moved in years. Both vehicles were parked in the far corner, away from the streetlights. The building looked different at night. Darker, more imposing. The tinted windows reflected my car's headlights back at me like dark mirrors. I grabbed my gym bag, locked my car. The neighborhood was quiet. Too quiet. No traffic, no voices, just the buzz of the streetlight above me. I swiped my key card. The lock clicked with a sound that echoed in the empty lot. Inside, fluorescent lights hummed overhead with that persistent electrical buzz that gets into your teeth. The lobby was empty. No Margaret. No one at the desk. Just a sign-in sheet and a pen on a chain. A camera in the corner blinked with a red light. I wrote my name and the time in careful letters. 10:32 p.m. The gym itself was bigger than it looked from outside. Much bigger. Rows of treadmills and ellipticals lined one wall, all facing away from the entrance. Free weights in the corner, arranged by size on metal racks. Exercise machines I didn't know the names of scattered throughout. A leg press, some kind of rowing thing, cables and pulleys attached to stacks of weights. Everything looked new. Clean. The floors were spotless. The equipment gleamed under the lights. And it was completely empty. I was the only person there. I walked slowly through the gym, my footsteps echoing on the rubber floor. I checked every corner, every row, the women's locker room, the men's, both empty. Not a soul in sight. But the sign-in sheet had other names on it from earlier in the evening. 3 or 4 people who'd supposedly been here between 8 and 10 p.m. Maybe they'd already left before I arrived. I chose a treadmill near the front, somewhere I could see the entrance, started walking, worked up to a slow jog. The machine beeped rhythmically with each step. My footsteps thudded on the belt. My breathing got heavier. I could feel my heart rate climbing. This was good. This was progress. That's when I heard it. Another sound. From somewhere deeper in the gym, behind the rows of equipment, a rhythmic clanging, metal on metal, someone lifting weights. I looked around, slowed my pace. I still didn't see anyone. The sound continued, steady, mechanical, like clockwork. Clang, pause, clang, pause, clang. Maybe someone was in a corner I couldn't see. The gym had a lot of blind spots. The equipment created little alcoves and hiding places. I kept running, tried to ignore it, focused on my breathing, in through my nose, out through my mouth, just like the YouTube video said. But the clanging bothered me. It was too regular, too perfect. No variation in timing or intensity. At 11:15, I stopped. 45 minutes. Not bad for my first night. I was drenched in sweat, my legs felt like jelly, my shirt clung to my back. But I felt good, accomplished, like I'd actually done something productive for once. I grabbed my water bottle, took a long drink, walked to the front desk to sign out. The sign-in sheet had two other names on it now. David Morris, 11:05 p.m., Sarah K., 11:12 p.m. I stared at the page, looked back at the gym. Still empty. Still silent now. The clanging had stopped. I hadn't seen anyone come in. The door chimed when it opened, a loud electronic beep. I would have heard it. I was only 20 feet away from the entrance. I looked back at the gym again, checked every corner I could see. Nobody. Maybe they'd come and gone while I was running. Treadmills face away from the door, and I'd been listening to music through my earbuds for part of the workout. I could have missed the door chime, or maybe they were still here, somewhere, in one of the blind spots. I signed out, 11:18 p.m. When I got to my car, I glanced back at the building. Someone stood in the window, just a silhouette, perfectly still, arms at their sides. I blinked. They were gone. I got in my car and drove home faster than I should have. The second night, I arrived earlier, 10 o'clock exactly. Margaret was at the desk. She looked up when I walked in. "Back already?" she said. "Excellent. Consistency is key to any fitness program." "I saw some other names on the sign-in sheet last night," I said, "but I never saw anyone in the gym. Our nighttime members value their privacy. They don't like to be disturbed." "Do they wear green wristbands?" Margaret's smile tightened slightly. "Some of them, yes." I signed in, grabbed a towel from the stack by the desk, headed into the gym. This time, I chose a treadmill facing the door. I wanted to see if anyone came in, wanted to confirm I wasn't going crazy. I started running, watched the entrance. The street outside was dark, empty. Occasional car passing by with its headlights cutting through the night. At 10:40, I smelled something. Copper, strong and sharp, like sucking on pennies, like the smell of blood when you bite your tongue. I stopped running, looked around, sniffed the air. The smell grew stronger. It seemed to be coming from the back of the gym, past the weight machines, near a door marked "Employees Only" in faded letters. Rule 7 popped into my head. Report any unusual smells to management immediately. Do not investigate their source. I got off the treadmill. My legs wobbled slightly. Walked to the front desk. Margaret wasn't there. The chair was empty, still warm when I touched it, like she'd just left. I stood in the empty lobby. The smell of copper followed me. Got stronger. I could taste it now, metallic on my tongue. "Hello?" I called out. "Margaret?" No answer. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The camera in the corner continued its slow pan back and forth. The front desk computer screen glowed softly. I leaned over to look at it. It showed security camera feeds, 4 different angles of the gym, black and white, grainy. I could see myself standing at the desk in one of them, looking down at the screen. It was disorienting, like looking into two mirrors facing each other. In another feed, I could see the back corner of the gym, near the employee door where the smell was coming from. Someone was standing there, a figure in black workout clothes, facing the wall, their hands pressed flat against the concrete like they were doing a wall push-up, but they weren't moving. They wore a green wristband. I spun around, looked back into the gym through the glass partition. No one was there. The back corner was empty. I looked at the computer screen again. The person in the green wristband stood perfectly still. Their head was tilted at an odd angle, too far to the left, like their neck was broken. My skin prickled. My breath came faster. I backed away from the desk. The front door chimed. Margaret walked in carrying a coffee in a paper cup, steam rising from the lid. "Everything all right?" she asked. Her smile was back, warm, concerned. "There's someone back by the employee door," I said. My voice sounded higher than normal. "On the camera, wearing a green wristband." Margaret glanced at the screen, frowned slightly. "I don't see anyone." I looked. The feed showed an empty corner, just equipment and walls. "They were just there," I said, standing facing the wall. Their head was tilted wrong. "Sometimes the cameras glitch." Margaret set down her coffee, adjusted her polo shirt. "Compression artifacts makes shadows look like people. What were you doing back here?" "I smelled something, copper, strong. You said in the rules to report unusual smells." Her expression changed, became very serious. The smile vanished, her eyes focused on mine with an intensity that made me uncomfortable. "Where exactly did you smell it?" "Near the employee door. That's why I looked back there." "Did you open the door?" "No. The rules said not to open locked doors." Margaret relaxed. Her shoulders dropped. The smile returned. "Good. That's very good. You're following the rules. That's important." She picked up her coffee, took a sip. "Don't worry about the smell. It's probably just the industrial cleaning supplies. The night crew uses very strong chemicals to sanitize the basement level. Sometimes the smell seeps up through the vents." "I thought the basement was off limits." "It is, for members. But the cleaning crew has to access it. We maintain the equipment down there, store supplies, that sort of thing." That made sense, sort of. But something about her explanation felt rehearsed, like she'd given it before. I went back to my workout, didn't smell the copper again. But I couldn't shake the image of that person on the camera, standing so still, head tilted like a puppet with cut strings. I left at 11:30, made sure to sign out this time. In the parking lot, I noticed something that made my stomach turn. The old Honda was still there. Same spot as last night. Exact same spot. So was the rusted pickup truck. I'd been coming here for 2 nights now. Both vehicles had been here both nights, in the exact same spots, like they never moved. Maybe they belonged to employees, Margaret and whoever worked the cleaning crew. But something about that didn't sit right. I drove home, tried not to think about it, failed miserably. By the end of the first week, I'd lost 3 pounds. 3 pounds in 7 days. That was actually good progress. Healthy progress, the kind of weight loss the internet said was sustainable. I felt better, stronger. My clothes fit a little looser. The late-night workouts actually helped me sleep. I'd come home exhausted, shower, and pass out until my alarm went off. But I started noticing things. The sign-in sheet always had other names, different people every night. David Morris and Sarah Kay had stopped coming, apparently. But now there were others. James Thompson, T. Rodriguez, Lisa Anderson, Marcus Chen. But I never saw them, never heard the door chime when they supposedly arrived, never saw another car in the parking lot besides the same old Honda and pickup truck. The copper smell came back on Friday night, stronger than before. It hit me the moment I walked into the gym. I reported it to Margaret immediately. She thanked me, told me not to worry. Said it was just the industrial cleaners they used on the basement level. More of that rehearsed explanation. Word for word what she'd said before. "I thought you said the cleaning crew came at night?" I asked. "They do, but I've never seen anyone, and I'm here every night now." Margaret's smile tightened. "They work very quietly. They don't like to disturb the members. Very professional." "What time do they come?" "After 3:15, when we close the gym for deep cleaning." "But the sign says 24/7 access." "For daytime members. The nighttime membership has specific hours, 10 p.m. to 3:15 a.m. It's in your contract." I didn't remember reading that. But then again, I'd skimmed most of the contract. On Saturday night, I saw the green wristband for the first time. I was doing bicep curls in front of the mirror. It was 2:30 a.m. I'd come later than usual. Couldn't sleep. Figured I might as well burn off some anxiety at the gym. The place felt different at this hour. Quieter, somehow. Even the fluorescent lights seemed dimmer, like they were conserving energy. The shadows in the corners looked darker, deeper. A door opened behind me. Not the front door, the employee door. I glanced in the mirror, watched the reflection. Someone walked out of the employee area. They wore all black. Black hoodie pulled up, black sweatpants, black shoes, and a bright green wristband that seemed to glow in the dim light. They moved to a bench press in the corner. Their gait was odd, too smooth, like they were gliding more than walking. They lay down on the bench, positioned themselves, lifted the bar. Their form was perfect, too perfect. Mechanical precision in every movement, no wasted motion, no adjustment of grip or position, just smooth, controlled lifting. I watched them in the mirror, tried to see their face under the hood. They kept their head down, never looked up, never looked around. I remembered Rule 3. If you see someone with a green wristband, do not speak to them, do not approach them, do not make eye contact. Fine by me. I didn't want to talk to anyone anyway, but I couldn't stop watching. Their breathing was strange, not the heavy panting you'd expect from someone lifting weights. It was steady, rhythmic, almost musical. In for 2 counts, out for 2 counts, never varying, never straining. They lifted the bar 12 times, set it down, sat up. That's when I saw it clearly. Their wrists, both of them. The skin around the green wristband was different, discolored, gray, like dead tissue. I looked away quickly, focused on my own reflection, tried to look casual, finished my set, moved to a different machine, one closer to the front door, somewhere with a clear path to the exit. The person with the green wristband kept lifting, methodical, mechanical. They moved to a different station, did pull-ups with perfect form, 20 in a row without pausing, without their form breaking down even slightly. At 2:55, they stopped mid-set. Just stopped. Let go of the bar. Stood perfectly still. I watched from across the gym, pretended to adjust a machine. They stood up, walked back toward the employee door, that same gliding walk. But they didn't open the door. They just stood there, facing it, completely still, arms at their sides. I looked at my watch. 2:56 a.m. The gym was silent except for the hum of the lights and the whisper of the ventilation system. At exactly 2:57, the person tilted their head, slowly, deliberately, to the left. That same wrong angle I'd seen on the security camera, like something was pulling their head sideways, like their spine was made of rubber. My skin prickled, my hands were shaking. I set down the weight I'd been holding. It clanged against the rack. The person's head snapped upright, fast, inhuman fast. They stood still for another moment. At 2:58, they opened the employee door, walked through without looking back. The door swung shut behind them. I heard a lock click. Multiple locks, heavy deadbolts sliding home. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. Nothing had actually happened. Someone had just worked out and left, but something was deeply, fundamentally wrong. I checked my watch again. 3:05 a.m. Rule 4 flashed in my mind. Never exercise past 3:17 a.m. Stop immediately at 3:15. I still had 10 minutes. But suddenly I wanted to be anywhere but here. I grabbed my bag, headed for the front desk. The computer screen was still on. I told myself not to look. Looked anyway. The security feed showing the back corner near the employee door made my blood freeze. 5 people stood there now, all wearing green wristbands, all facing the wall, all with their heads tilted at that same unnatural angle. They stood in perfect formation, like soldiers at attention, or corpses waiting for orders. One of them turned their head slowly, looked directly at the camera, directly at me. Their eyes were black, completely black, no whites, no irises. I ran to my car, didn't sign out, didn't look back, just ran. In the parking lot, I fumbled with my keys, dropped them, picked them up, finally got the door open. In my rearview mirror, I could see the gym entrance. 5 people stood in the doorway, silhouettes backlit by the fluorescent lights, green wristbands glowing like radioactive markers. They didn't move, didn't follow, just watched. I drove home with my doors locked and my windows up, kept checking my rearview mirror, expected to see them following me. But the road behind me was empty. I didn't go back for 3 days. I told myself I was being ridiculous. It was just a cheap gym with weird hours and weird members. So what if they had strange rules? So what if people wore green wristbands? So what if they were intense about their workouts? I was paying $20 a month. I couldn't afford to be picky. I couldn't afford a normal gym. But I couldn't stop thinking about those 5 people standing in the dark, facing the wall, those black eyes staring at the camera. On Wednesday, I made myself go back. I'd already lost momentum. 3 days away from the gym. I could feel the weight creeping back. I couldn't let this gym thing go the way all my other attempts had gone. Margaret was at the desk when I walked in at 10:45. "Where have you been?" she asked. Her tone was light, conversational, but something in her eyes was sharp, assessing. "We missed you." "Just busy with work." The lie came easily. "Well, you're here now. That's what matters. Consistency is everything in a fitness journey." I signed in, tried to keep my hand steady. The gym was empty again, always empty when I could see it, but full according to the sign-in sheet. More names I didn't recognize, more ghosts. I chose a treadmill in the middle of the room this time. Not too close to the door, not too far back. Somewhere I could see everything. I started walking, built up to a jog, kept my eyes moving, watching for movement in the mirrors, watching for shadows. At 11:30, the mirrors fogged up. It happened suddenly. No gradual condensation. One moment they were clear. The next, thick fog covered every reflective surface in the gym, the floor-to-ceiling mirrors along the walls, the windows, even the polished metal on the weight machines, like someone had breathed on everything at once. I stopped walking, stared at the nearest mirror, remembered Rule 5. If the mirrors fog up, leave the building at once. Do not wipe them. Do not look at them. I got off the treadmill, started for the door. That's when I saw the writing. Someone had traced letters in the fog on the big mirror near the free weights. The letters were large, desperate, written with trembling fingers. "Help us!" My stomach dropped like an elevator with cut cables. I walked closer despite myself, looked at the letters, studied them. They were written from the inside, from behind the mirror. The perspective was wrong for someone on this side of the glass. That wasn't possible. Mirrors don't have an inside. Mirrors are just glass and silver, solid, impenetrable. I reached out to touch the writing. My hand shook. The glass felt warm, like skin. like something alive was pressed against it from the other side. Something moved behind the fog, a shape, human-shaped, pressed against the mirror from behind. I jerked my hand back. More shapes appeared, dozens of them, hundreds, all pressed against the fogged mirrors like they were trying to push through. Hands, faces, bodies. The glass bulged slightly, flexed, like membrane instead of solid glass. I heard breathing. Not mine. Coming from everywhere at once, ragged, desperate, the breathing of people who'd been holding their breath too long, and underneath that, voices, whispers, too many to count, all saying the same thing. Help us, help us, help us, help us. Get out, my brain screamed. I ran. Left my bag, left everything, just ran for the front desk. Margaret wasn't there. The lobby was empty. The front door was 10 feet away. I could make it. Behind me, I heard a sound, like glass cracking, like ice breaking on a frozen pond. I didn't look back, didn't want to see what was coming through those mirrors. I burst through the front door into the parking lot. Cold night air hit my face. I sucked in lungfuls of it. In my car, I sat with the doors locked, engine running, heat blasting, watching the building. The fog cleared as I watched, slowly, like someone was wiping it away from the inside. The mirrors went transparent again, the windows too. The gym looked normal, empty, quiet. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Please return to sign out. It's against the rules to leave without signing out. Management. I deleted the message, put the car in reverse, drove home. I should have quit right then. Should have counted my losses and found a different gym, a normal gym with normal hours and normal people. Should have gone back to Planet Fitness or Anytime Fitness or any of the big chains. But I didn't. Because when I got home at midnight and looked in my bathroom mirror, I saw it. I'd lost 8 pounds in 2 weeks. 8 pounds. That was incredible progress. Almost unbelievable progress. I looked better than I had in years. My face looked thinner, cheekbones more defined. My stomach was visibly flatter. I could see the beginning of muscle definition in my arms, in my shoulders. It was working. Whatever that place was, whatever they were doing there, it was working. I stood there for 20 minutes, turning, looking at myself from different angles. I looked good, really good, and I felt good too. More energy, sleeping better, my clothes fit differently. All from 2 weeks of working out. 2 weeks. I went back the next night. This time, I brought questions. Margaret was at the desk, waiting for me, like she knew I'd come back. You left without signing out last night, she said. Her tone wasn't angry, just factual. That's against the rules. The mirrors fogged up, I said. I did what I was supposed to do. I left immediately, just like Rule 5 says. Yes, you did. Good. She seemed genuinely pleased, like I'd passed a test. But you still need to sign out, always, even in emergencies. The sign-out sheet is how we track who's in the building, in case of a real emergency. What was that last night? The fog? Temperature differential. The AC is very strong on the main floor. Sometimes when it's humid outside, it causes condensation on cold surfaces. I saw people, behind the mirrors. Margaret's smile didn't change, didn't flicker. Reflections can be tricky in fog. The mind plays tricks. Pareidolia. The human brain is wired to see faces in random patterns. It wasn't random patterns. Someone wrote "help us" on the glass. Did you take a picture? I hadn't. I'd been too scared, too focused on getting out. Next time, Margaret said, if you see anything unusual, document it with your phone. Take photos, video. Otherwise, how can I help? Without evidence, it's just your word against the natural laws of physics. She was right. Without proof, I sounded crazy, like I was making it up, having hallucinations. Can I ask about the green wristbands? I said. Change the subject. What about them? Who are those people? I saw one the other night. They work out differently, mechanically, and I never see them come in. But they're always here. And on the security cameras, there were 5 of them, just standing there, facing the wall. Margaret folded her hands on the desk, calm, patient, like a teacher explaining something to a slow student. They're part of our accelerated program. What's that? Special training, very intense, very effective, not for everyone. What kind of training? I can't discuss the details, client confidentiality, but I can tell you it gets results, fast results. Can anyone join? No. Her smile widened slightly. You have to be invited. Something in her tone made my stomach turn. The way she said, invited, like it was a threat disguised as an opportunity. How do you get invited? I asked. You don't, Margaret said. Her eyes locked onto mine. We choose you. When you're ready, when you've proven you can commit, when you've shown you can follow the rules. My mouth went dry. I can follow rules. Can you? She pulled out a folder, my contract. You've broken Rule 5, staying in the building when the mirror's fogged. You should have left immediately. I did leave. But you stayed long enough to see the writing, to touch the glass. That's hesitation, curiosity. Those things can be dangerous here. She closed the folder, slid it back into her drawer. But you're new, so I'll forgive it this once. Just don't let it happen again. That should have been my final warning. I know that now. But I kept going back. The workouts were too good, the results too fast, too visible, too real. By the end of week 3, I'd lost 12 pounds. 12 pounds in 21 days. My coworkers noticed, started asking questions. What gym was I going to? What was my routine? What supplements was I taking? Just diet and exercise, I lied. Cutting carbs, lots of cardio. But I wasn't doing anything special. Just running on a treadmill for an hour each night. At a haunted gym with rules about not talking to people wearing green wristbands and leaving before 3:17 a.m. The gym changed as January wore on. Or maybe I just noticed things I'd missed before. The basement door that was supposedly locked? It wasn't always closed. Sometimes I'd see it standing open. Just a crack. Just enough to see darkness beyond it. And stairs leading down. The employee area that Margaret said was off limits? People went in and out constantly. Not through the front door. They just appeared. Materialized. One moment the gym was empty. The next, someone in black clothes with a green wristband was using a machine in the back. And the smell. That copper smell. It got stronger every night. By the 4th week, it was constant. Always there. Like the building itself was bleeding. By the last week of January, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I was on the treadmill at 1 a.m. when the smell hit me like a physical force. Sharp, overwhelming. It made my eyes water, made my stomach churn, like breathing in blood. I got off the machine, covered my nose with my shirt, followed the scent to its source. The employee door was open, wide open, not just a crack. Yellow light spilled out from the hallway beyond, harsh fluorescent light, the kind that hurts to look at. I could hear voices, low, rhythmic, almost like chanting, voices speaking in unison, words I didn't recognize, a language that didn't sound human. I knew I shouldn't look. The rules were clear. Rule 6, do not open any locked doors. Do not attempt to access restricted areas. But the door was already open. I wasn't opening it, just looking. My feet carried me forward, one step, then another, like I was being pulled by invisible strings. I reached the doorway, gripped the frame, peered inside. It was a hallway, long, white walls, fluorescent lights every 10 feet creating pools of harsh light. At the end, maybe 60 feet away, another door. also standing open. The smell came from there, the copper, and underneath it, something worse. Rot, decay, the smell of things that should be dead. The chanting grew louder. I walked down the hallway, my heart hammered in my chest. My hands felt cold, my legs felt numb. The fluorescent lights flickered as I passed underneath them, buzzing, creating that electric hum that drills into your skull. At the end of the hallway, I reached the second door. My hands were shaking so hard I had to grab the door frame to steady myself. I looked into the room. It was an operating theater. No, not operating, transforming. The room was massive, larger than the gym above it. White tiled walls, stainless steel tables, medical equipment I didn't have names for. There were 12 tables, 6 on each side, people strapped to them, leather restraints at wrists and ankles, IVs in their arms, connected to machines that hummed and beeped and glowed with orange fluid. They all wore green wristbands. Their bodies looked wrong, muscles too defined, like someone had drawn anatomy diagrams on skin, veins bulging, skin stretched too tight, bones visible in places they shouldn't have been, cheekbones jutting out, ribs showing, joints too pronounced, and their eyes, open, staring at the ceiling, black, completely black, like the person I'd seen on the security camera. Around the tables, figures in white coats moved with precision. Not the chaos of an ER. This was choreographed, rehearsed. They took measurements with calipers, adjusted the IV drips, made notes on clipboards in quick, efficient movements. The machines hummed louder. The orange fluid in the IVs pulsed, pushed into the bodies on the tables. And the bodies changed as I watched. Muscles grew, visibly. Like watching time-lapse photography of plant growth. Fat melted away, skin tightened, bones restructured themselves. The people on the tables didn't scream, didn't make any sound, just stared at the ceiling with those black eyes while their bodies transformed. One of the figures in white coats turned. Margaret. She saw me immediately, like she'd known I was there the whole time. Her smile never faltered. If anything, it grew wider. "Hello," she said. Her voice was warm, pleasant, like we were running into each other at a coffee shop. "We've been waiting for you." The other figures in white coats turned, all at once, in perfect synchronization. They all had Margaret's smile, that same too-wide grin. "You've been doing so well," Margaret continued. She walked toward me. Slow steps, measured, like approaching a spooked animal. 12 pounds in 3 weeks. Excellent progress. You follow the rules, most of the time. You're dedicated, committed. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't run. "You're almost ready," she said. Ready for what? I wanted to ask, but my voice wouldn't work. The transformation takes time. You have to ease into it, build up to it. That's why we start with the nighttime membership, the basic program, diet and exercise. Nothing too invasive. She was 5 feet away now, close enough that I could see her eyes weren't quite right. The pupils were too large, too black. But eventually, everyone transitions to the accelerated program. When they're ready, when their body can handle it. She gestured to the tables, to the bodies being transformed. They all started just like you. $20 a month, late-night workouts, wondering about the rules, getting curious, following the smell. "What are you doing to them?" My voice came out as a whisper. "Making them perfect," Margaret said simply. "That's what they wanted, what they paid for, what they signed up for." "I didn't sign up for this." "Didn't you? Check your contract, Section 9. Read the fine print." I ran, not down the hallway. I couldn't go back that way. Margaret was blocking it. I ran deeper into the basement, past the operating theater, through another door, into darkness. Behind me, I heard footsteps, multiple sets, all in perfect sync, the sound of the white-coated figures following me. "You can't leave," Margaret's voice called out, echoing in the dark. "You signed the contract. You agreed to the terms. You have an obligation. 60 days minimum." I found stairs, climbed them in the dark. My shins hit the edges. Pain shot up my legs. I didn't care. At the top, a door. Locked. I threw my shoulder against it, once, twice, 3 times. It burst open. I stumbled into the gym. The main floor, empty as always. I ran for the front entrance, crashed through the door. Didn't stop. In the parking lot, I fumbled for my keys. Looked back. 5 people stood in the gym entrance, the people from the tables, wearing green wristbands. Their bodies transformed. Perfect. Inhuman. They didn't chase me, just watched, like predators watching prey that wasn't worth the effort. I got in my car, locked the doors, started the engine with shaking hands. As I pulled out of the parking lot, I looked in my rearview mirror. All 5 of them stood perfectly still, watching me leave. One of them raised a hand, waved, slow, deliberate, like a promise. I went home, locked every door, every window, checked them twice, closed every blind, turned on every light in my apartment. My phone started buzzing at 1 a.m., text after text from unknown numbers. "You were doing so well. Why did you ruin it?" "Management. You signed the contract. You agreed to the rules. You have an obligation." "Management. Come back. Finish what you started. You've made such good progress. Don't throw it away now." Margaret. I deleted the messages, blocked the numbers. More texts came from different numbers. "Return to complete your program. Vitality Fitness. You cannot quit. Check your contract. Section 9. VF Management. The transformation is already beginning. You can't stop it now." My hands shook as I pulled out the papers I'd signed, read through them with a growing sense of dread. Found Section 9, in small print at the bottom of page 7. Members who join the nighttime program agree to complete a minimum of 60 days. Early termination will result in reversal of all benefits and restoration to original physical state. Additionally, incomplete transformations may result in adverse physical effects. Vitality. Fitness is not responsible for health complications arising from premature program cessation. I laughed. It came out high-pitched, hysterical. Restoration to original state? That was impossible. Weight loss wasn't reversible by contract. Bodies didn't work that way. I went to bed, slept badly, had nightmares about white coats and orange IV fluid and black eyes staring from the ceiling. Woke up at 6 a.m. When I looked in the bathroom mirror, I screamed. I'd gained back 4 pounds overnight. 4 pounds in 6 hours. I weighed myself 3 times. The scale didn't lie. 178 pounds. Yesterday I'd weighed 174. My face looked puffier, my stomach bigger, my arms softer, like someone had inflated me slightly while I slept. Another text arrived. "Come back. Finish what you started, or it will only get worse." Margaret. I didn't go back. For 3 days I stayed home, called in sick to work, ate normally, exercised in my apartment, did push-ups, sit-ups, ran in place, tried to maintain the weight loss. It didn't work. Every morning I was heavier. Every day, more of the weight returned. Not gradually, not naturally, not the way weight gain actually works. It came back in chunks, overnight, like someone was adding it to my body while I slept, like the contract was rewriting my biology. The first morning after I stopped going, I woke up and immediately felt different, heavier, slower. I dragged myself to the bathroom scale, 176 pounds, 2 pounds overnight. I'd been 174 when I went to bed. I weighed myself 3 times, changed the batteries, tried a different scale. Same result. 176. I looked in the mirror. My face already looked puffier. The definition in my jawline was softening. The hollows under my cheekbones filling in. I told myself it was water weight, bloating, stress, anything but what I knew it really was. The second day, I woke up at 177. Another pound, added while I slept. While I lay there dreaming of operating theaters and orange fluid and black eyes, my clothes fit differently, tighter. The jeans I'd been able to button easily now pinched my waist. The shirt that had looked good 2 days ago now clung to my stomach. I exercised harder. Ran in my apartment building's gym for 2 hours, ate nothing but salad and protein. Drank water until I felt sick. Woke up the next morning at 178 pounds, 1 pound heavier, despite the diet, despite the exercise, despite everything I knew about how bodies worked, and I felt wrong. Not just heavier, wrong. My muscles ached in ways they shouldn't. My joints felt stiff. My skin felt tight in some places and loose in others, like my body was being reshaped, molded back into its original form by invisible hands. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. The fat distribution was unnatural. It appeared in odd places, too much in my face, my neck, my lower back, not spread evenly like normal weight gain. More like someone was filling specific areas first, and the smell, that copper smell. It followed me everywhere, in my apartment, in my car, at work, like it had soaked into my skin. On the 4th day, I woke up and couldn't get out of bed for 10 minutes. My body felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds, like gravity had doubled overnight. When I finally made it to the scale, I stared at the number for a full minute. 179 pounds. I'd gained back all the weight I'd lost, plus 1 extra pound. My reflection looked exactly like it had on New Year's Day, maybe worse. The progress I'd made over 3 weeks, gone in 4 days. But it didn't stop there. The 5th day, I was 180. The 6th day, 181. I wasn't just returning to my starting weight. I was going past it. The texts started again. Your body is rejecting the incomplete transformation. Come back and finish, or it will keep getting worse. The contract protects both parties. You owe us 36 days. Pay your debt or pay the price. VF Management. We can stop this. We can help you. All you have to do is come back. Margaret. I blocked the numbers. They found new ones. On the 7th day, I woke up at 182 pounds. Heavier than I'd been in 5 years. Heavier than when I started. And I felt sick, really sick. Fever, chills, nausea. My body was fighting something, rejecting something, like an organ transplant recipient rejecting a donated organ. I went to the doctor, lied about where the sudden weight gain came from. Said it must be thyroid. Hormones, something medical. They ran tests. Everything came back normal. Perfect, actually. Blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, all better than they'd been at my last physical. But I was still gaining weight. The doctor had no explanation, suggested I see a therapist, said maybe it was psychological, stress eating, sleep eating, something I wasn't consciously aware of. I knew better. By Saturday, I looked exactly like I had on New Year's Day, 178 pounds. Like the contract had a target number, a set point it was forcing me back to. All the progress, gone. 21 days of work, 12 pounds lost, all reversed in 1 week. The texts stopped. But I got an email instead. Subject, contract fulfillment required. You broke the contract. There will be consequences. The restoration is complete. But the debt remains. You owe us 36 days. Until you complete them, you belong to Vitality Fitness. We will find you. We always find our members. You cannot escape a signed contract. You cannot outrun what you agreed to. See you soon. Management. That night, I saw them. I was lying in bed, couldn't sleep, kept thinking about Margaret's smile, the orange fluid, the black eyes. Something moved outside my window. Third-floor apartment. Nothing should be moving out there. I got up, looked through the blinds. 5 people stood in the parking lot, looking up at my window, wearing green wristbands that glowed in the dark. They didn't move, didn't wave, just stood there, watching, waiting. I backed away from the window, heart pounding, hands shaking. When I looked again, they were gone, but I knew they'd be back. I moved 2 weeks later, broke my lease, lost my deposit, didn't care. Different city, different state, Portland to Sacramento, 600 miles away, far enough that they couldn't find me. I changed my phone number, deleted all my social media, closed my email account and opened a new one. Started over with a clean slate. Found a new job, new apartment, new gym. A normal gym with normal hours and normal people. I never went near that street again. Never searched for Vitality Fitness online. Too afraid I'd find another location. Too afraid they had franchises. Too afraid this was bigger than one building in one city. Months passed. The texts stopped. The emails stopped. I stopped seeing people with green wristbands watching my apartment. I thought I was safe. I wasn't. But sometimes, late at night, I catch myself in the mirror and see something wrong, something off about my reflection. Like it's moving a fraction of a second too slow, like it's not quite synced to my movements. And sometimes, when I look very closely, I can see the faintest hint of green around my wrist, like a ghost of a wristband that was never there. And sometimes, I smell copper. I still don't know what they were doing in that basement, what those machines were for, what the orange fluid was, what the green wristbands really meant. But I know this. I never should have made that resolution. Because now, every January 1st, I wake up weighing exactly what I did that day. 178 pounds, no matter what I do, no matter how much I diet or exercise, no matter where I live or what gym I join. The weight always comes back, always returns to the same number, 178, like a curse, like a contract I can never break. And sometimes, I wonder if I'm the only one. If there are others out there who made the same mistake, who signed the same contract, who saw what I saw in that basement. People who can't lose weight no matter what they try. People trapped at the same number forever. People who owe 36 days to a gym that doesn't exist on any map. People who wake up smelling copper and seeing green wristbands in their peripheral vision. People who know the truth about Vitality Fitness. If you're reading this and thinking about joining a new gym this January, read the contract carefully. All of it, every page, every line, every word. Check the rules, ask questions. And if anyone offers you a nighttime membership for $20 a month, run. Run far and run fast and don't look back. Because some New Year's resolutions are designed to trap you. And the only way out is to never start. The only way to win is to not play. I learned that too late. Don't make the same mistake I did.